I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, April the 21st, brought to you in part by the new Nasalgen, Bovolus Nasalgen 3 PMH, a one-of-a-kind respiratory vaccine that is safe to use in young calves for a strong, healthy foundation. Go to unmatchedprotection.com for more information. A Bill Showdown. Haven't talked to you about that for the last couple of visits, but coming up here on Tuesday and Wednesday, we're having the hearings in the Senate first and then the House on this compromise bill. I mean, we talk about the compromise bill, and a lot of outfits talk about the compromise bill like it's something less than what we wanted. Well, and I've had a lot of people ridicule me for saying it's the best we can get. It's a correction. It's all we can get. It's the only thing that's up, guys. They're not talking about anything else. They're not having hearings on anything else. But this Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, it's the Grassley-Fisher bill. We're having hearings on it in the Senate on Tuesday, in the House on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're going to have the big four packers are going to come in and state their case. Now, what case they have for how they've been making all-time record profits here during the pandemic, and all the gouging that they've been doing, how they're going to answer for that. That'll be interesting, and I can't wait for some of the best questions on that. But this is all we can get, guys. You know, we wanted 50-14, 50% of our fed cattle to be sold cash within 14-day delivery. You know, that would be fantastic. There's people in hell wanting ice water too, and they can't get it. But somebody comes along and says, hey, how about we open a window over here and get us a little breath? And everybody says, no, we don't want that. We don't want it. We're going to keep begging for ice water. You're not going to get ice water, guys. And we're not going to get anything better than this bill right here. If we don't get this deal, they are going to push back and say, we cannot please you people. There's nothing that makes you happy. So we're just going to let you guys continue to struggle, continue with vertical integration, and lose all your negotiated trade completely. We've already had Texas A&M studies say that we are going to go to net zero negotiated trade by 2026 in the Texas feedlot area if we don't get something done about this. Well, this is something that we're going to get done. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. It's not nearly as aggressive as I would like to see, but I'm a realist. I know that what we can get and what we can't. We can get this. And so we need to get behind it. And I've been asking you guys to call in, tell your lawmakers that this is something we really need. And we continue to have, especially in the last several days, people coming out against it. So I guess they want nothing. They don't want anything. But this is something that we can absolutely get. And the best thing about it, guys, is it's adjustable. Once we stop the bleeding on the negotiated trade, that it won't go any lower than what we have right now. And then, you know, they're going to let USDA pick out an economist to come in here and figure out what is robust negotiated trade. Is it going to be what we want? Probably not. Hopefully it will be better than what Dr. Kuntz's study said, but it will be something that we can adjust upwards to more negotiated trade. And then that's not it. It's continually adjustable to go up from there. And so it's something that we can work on. We've got to set a standard right here. We've got to draw a line in the sand that we don't want to lose any more negotiated trade than we've already lost. And so we've got to move up from there. Now, people don't want to get it. And I understand that people are not happy about setting the baseline minimum at where we've been. Yeah, it's going to be, you know, somewhere just lower than 10% in Texas. It's going to be somewhere between 10 and 15% in Kansas. Yeah, I realize that's not a whole lot, but we've got to stop the bleeding somewhere. You get up in Nebraska, they still got 30% or better negotiated trade, and you go over into Iowa and they're around 50%. And that's great up there. And I realize that the problem is in the Southern Plains, but we've got to stop the bleeding at some point. And so, you guys can fight it all you want, but we've got to get something set in stone, some kind of a bill, and this is our chance right here to get this. They've picked the people that are going to testify for the Senate bill, and I'm comfortable with that. I think we're going to have some good people testify for the Senate bill. The U.S. Cattlemen's Association has got an excellent guy there, a good friend of mine, Ricky Ruffin there. He comes from rural Mississippi. He's a rural attorney. He will do anything from, do a title check on your property whenever you buy it, all the way to divorcing you, all the way to, trying to get you off a murder deal. He's done it all. And he's a cattleman, and he has cows. He's always had cows. He backgrounds a lot of cattle. He's passionate about this cattle business, and he's a good guy. He's going to be there testifying for us. Dr. Kuntz is going to be there testifying. I'm not sure who put him up, but he's funded through the National Corporate Beef Association. That's where he gets his money to do his studies. So we understand where he's going to come from, but we've heard all that before. But we've got to get this done, guys. It's absolutely pertinent that we get this absolutely done, and we can get it. We can't wait any longer, because you guys know whenever we have the next election, not the next presidential election, but the next election for Congress, we're going to get a Republican administration. I'm Republican. I'm conservative. Most of us are. But you're not going to get a conservative tilted Congress to tell industry what to do. And we've got to do this because they're not enforcing the rules of the P&S law that was 100 years old. And so we're not going to get anything better than that. We've got to take this opportunity right now that we can get it. The White House administration has endorsed this bill. So, a lot of the Democrats that don't know come here from Sikkim when it comes to this bill, they're just going to go with the White House, and they've endorsed this bill. So we've got the votes to get it. Stop fighting it. Please. Do you guys want something or nothing? I've told you 1,000 times, you can't get any more than this. Now, maybe down the line we can get some other things going, but this is a good thing to get right now, and it is continuously adjustable. It's something we can go in and keep cranking a little bit higher to try to get more leverage in our fed cattle market that eventually trickles down to our yearlings and our calves. It will save this industry, I promise you, and it will save your auction business and your viability of selling cattle at auction 6 days a week to turn them into cash, which makes cattle something that's very, very fluid. And it's, there's price discovery there. We're going to work on price discovery on our fed cattle market. It's going to be better than what you think it's going to be. Where it's at right now, I realize that's low, but once we start making all these major packer facilities participate, it's not just a big four. It's every facility. Once every facility starts having to meet minimum requirements for negotiated trade, it's going to be better than what we've had, guys. And everybody wants to say, well, gosh, here's what I would do, or here's what I would do, or, I think we should continue the CFAP payments. I love cheese checks. They helped me get by last week. We can't continue to do that. You see what the inflation has done because of all the cheese checks that we've put out and all the money that we've pumped in to the system. We can't continue to do that. People are saying, well, I would make them, give us 100%. Yeah, we're not going to retrain. We're not going to, start over from scratch. We're not going to upset the apple cart and start back over from 60 years ago. No, we're going to take what they're at right now and start adjusting it. Your corporate feeders are big. That's more than half of our fed cattle sales. Yes, they are in sweetheart deals. They're in AMAs, alternative marketing agreements, formulas. Well, we're not going to force them out. We don't want to. We just want to get a little bit more leverage in here, guys, and continue to work more in this negotiated trade. We can't redraw all the lines and start over from scratch. We've got to draw a line in the sand and say we're not going to leak any more of our negotiated trade. We're not going to lose any more of our price discovery. We're going to stop it right now and start adjusting upward. This will do that. Guys, get behind it, support it, be excited about it. Talk about other things that are going on. Talk to Feeder Flash gang members up in North Dakota, northern South Dakota, especially northwest South Dakota. They're wet up there, guys. That last big snowstorm that they got was very, very wet. They went through the blizzards, a lot of dead calves. And I'm not going to venture to say how many. You know, I talked to one guy that was at a place where the guy had over 400 calves. He lost half of them. There's bound to be more that's lost significant numbers of calves. That's going to exacerbate our light numbers of cattle going forward here. But they've been going through it. You got to feel for those guys up there. They're selling cattle pretty good up in that part of the country. And we just hope that they can stay with us. So we don't want to lose any more members of this cattle industry at any level. We've got to continue to push forward. We got a cattle on feed report coming out this Friday. The way that they've got it set up, and I say set up, and that's by your estimates of it, by your average of your analyst guess. They've got this thing cranked up to be hard to be bullish. It's going to be hard to be bullish because they've got it cranked down so much. Their on feed estimates for April the 1st compared to a year ago are 100.3. We know that these feedlots are slam full. They're still slam full. We know we've got a lot of market ready cattle to get through once we start into the early summer. And there's not any empty pens there. Yet they've got our on feed estimates and maybe they're just trying to crank them down to be right, but they've got it set at 100.3. It's going to be hard for that to be bullish. Our placements for March, they've got those estimated at 91.7. That is really low. For this thing to be bullish, it would have to be less than that. It's going to be hard to make that kind of a number. Marketing's at 98.1%. They could be higher, so that could be a plus there. But I'm not looking for a bullish cattle on feed report, although the numbers are still friendly, and we have to recognize that. Let's talk about your board on Wednesday. April live cattle futures up $1.72. It's getting to the time where I think even these traders in Chicago are realizing how short of cattle that we are, and so they're starting to let a little bit of this fundamental come in here. But April live cattle up $1.72 when corn was up at 143.07. June was up 205 at 138.62 on Wednesday's trade. Your back months were up $1.25 to up $1.97. Very positive. April feeder cattle were up 85 cents and corn was up nearly 12 cents on the front month there. But April feeder cattle up 85 cents at 157.50. May up $1.70 at 162.47. You look at your back months of feeder cattle, they were up 127 to up 202, and that up 202 was your August contract, which was very, very important for those yearlings coming off grass. Fat cattle trade, we had some more fat cattle trade, and it continues to be higher. These guys are scrambling for cattle, and I did see one of my friends, Lee Richmond, put this out on Twitter, and I thought it was very, very curious that he put this out, and he said, do you think this week's fat cattle market is indicative of what's going on in politics, where we're going into these hearings, because these packers have gotten so aggressive this week? I think that could have something to do with it. They're going to say, hey, look at last week, man, we've been higher every day for cattle. But it's also because they're short of cattle and they need cattle, and our market ready supplies right now are tight. They may not be in 3 weeks or a month, but they are tight right now. Iowa sold 4,400 head confirmed, 20,200 for the week. Live sales 143.25 to 146. That's higher, guys. Dress sales from 232 to 236. The best we had last week was 231. I mean, gaining ground big time. Nebraska, 7,000 head on Wednesday, 32,000 for the week. Live sales 144 to 147. I think we had 145 on the top end on just a few deals last week. I mean, it's higher. Dress sales in Nebraska 230 to 238. 231 was the best we had last week, guys. Kansas 900 head, 21,600 head for the week. 140 is the price in the Southern Plains. You can't rub off of that. Had some dress sales in Kansas, 223 all the way up to 230. Texas about 1,000 head, 11,000 for the week. That's the first time that we've hit what Dr. Kuntz said is robust, which is in the 9,000s, and we haven't hit that for several weeks. First week we've hit that in several weeks of robust trade. We've got to get more negotiated trade, guys. 11,000 head in Texas for the week so far. And your live prices were mostly at 140 in Texas, 75 head at 135. I don't know what that was all about, but all the way up to 140 and a quarter. Box beef cutout values were lower, and I tell you what, they are not continuing their uptrend into May like normal. And you know, guys are just your end users are just backing off of that price. They're thinking, gosh, things are just too high. But choice cuts down $1.11 at 268.82. Selects down 268 at 256.53 on Wednesday afternoon. Slaughter is starting to catch up, but we started out kind of behind on Monday because we didn't have an aggressive Monday. But through Wednesday, 361,000, 14,000 less than last week's big harvest, 1,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. I've told you guys time and time again, these livestock risk protection policies are the deal, and you can get, and the government will come in and help you 30 to 35% of that premium. That's pennies from heaven, guys. And a lot of you are wishing that you'd have got one of those LRPs a month ago or more, when you could have locked in some of those yearlings out there way up in the 180s. But those are the best deals for calves, for stocker cattle, yearlings, and for fed cattle. LRPs are the deal. You need to find somebody that can help you get one of those. One of the professionals in the business is Livestock Risk Services, and they're centrally located. They're mostly in Oklahoma and surrounding areas, but they absolutely know what they're doing. They do it all day, every day. And if you need somebody to help you get an LRP, call into livestockriskservices.com. How much feeder cattle market? Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Wednesday sit at 155.60. It's down just 21 cents, but basically steady there. Your big sales on Wednesday, OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 7,700. Feeder steers were mostly steady. Feeder heifers were steady to $2 lower, but they had a hell of a feeder heifer sale a week ago, so it's not too bad. Calves $2 to $4 higher. Stick-out sale in El Reno was on some replacement heifers, some all-black heifers, 57 head of them, weighed 789, bring $150 for replacement there, and that's a pretty good quote out of El Reno. How about winter livestock, Dodge City, Kansas, 2,800 head. Feeders there were $2 to $5 higher. Not many light calves, but the stockers were steady to as much as $9 higher. Those lightweight yearlings or calf weight yearlings where everybody wants, and they're still craving them, I guess, but that $9 higher was solely on the steers. Calves had a higher undertone on a very light test, but a stick-out deal in Dodge City, Kansas was 59 head, 774 pound steers, bring $169. Got some other individual quotes for you. Stockman's Livestock, Yankton, South Dakota, got a hell of a fat cattle sale, hell of a feeder cattle sale on a Wednesday. How about 77 head, 614 pound stocker steers in Yankton, South Dakota, bring $209.50. How about Emporia Livestock Sales? Emporia, Kansas, right there in the Flint Hills, but they can sell big cattle too, evidently. 56 head, 1,035 pound warmed up feeder steers right there, bring $145. pencil those babies out. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday coming from a feeder flash gang member that sold them, Matt Fieldhouse there, Oak Creek Ranch, Giral Grove, top quote for the day, come out of Hub City Livestock in Aberdeen, South Dakota. They broadcast through DV Auction, but we don't get their information fed to us through Cattle Market Central. I wish we did. But he sold 114 head, 671 pound steers at $188. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.